Alright, so welcome back to Solium Infernum. This will be the final part of Solium Infernum. This playthrough should be done reasonably swiftly, because we are already on Phase 3 of 5 of the Assembly of the Conclave. We're going to keep our ritual going, as Deceit is pretty much the only thing that can knock us out at the moment, although our Deceit resistance should be a lot better at the moment than it used to be. I have started my blood feud with Belial, and I've started that because I'm reasonably confident that this turn I can knock him out, my turn comes before his, and there's very little he can do about that. My extortions have been delivered. Mammon has once again failed to show up to fight, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to seek tribute or gather manuscripts for a couple of turns, which does rather limit the actions I can take, especially as I'm more or less maxed out on diplomacy, but I can continue to hold Mammon down and tell him he doesn't get to play the game. I could increase my destruction to level 4 again, but I'm not really going to use rituals, so there's not a lot of point doing that. I'm going to use this event card just because I don't have much else that I need to do at this point. Ideally I'd like a third legion, because the Frozen Lords being here worries me, mainly due to their ability to take my stronghold and essentially knock me out of the game. I was going to buy the Defilers, but I don't have the tribute for it. I'd need another 5 darkness, which is something that I can actually get with Convert Tribute. I can target darkness and put 10 Hellfire in. That will give me 5 darkness. Normally I wouldn't want to use that, but needs must. I've got 2 more actions left, and not a lot of idea with what to do with them. I'm going to plot 2 schemes here. These will give me essentially mini objectives that will give me extra prestige. I don't think they're going to be too useful, but late game, Death Takes a Holiday can mean that you run out of useful actions, and I may as well be doing something. So, as we can see, the Vorpal Blades, level 1 with no attachments, against the level 6 Accursed Company with a bunch of books and Telemachus, there's really nothing in the way of competition. You will also note that now I'm in a blood feud with Belial, I take his cantons just by moving onto them, as opposed to previous turns where I've had to end my turn on a canton that's next to one of mine. And his stronghold doesn't stand a chance whatsoever. Taking his stronghold means I take his Bowl of Abject Darkness and his Praetor Aureas, which will generate tribute for me on every 5th turn due to his Eternal Thirst ability, and the Bowl will mean that my own powers cannot be decreased by any means. This is quite useful in a game against Belphegor, who tends to spam the machines that decrease your powers quite a lot. Dire Dissipation is casting the Unholy Fountain. That's going to reduce its maximum hit points to 1. If I wanted to hold the Unholy Fountain particularly, I'd be worried about that, but frankly it doesn't really make much of a difference to me at the moment. Mammon is going to use Burnt Offerings to increase his prestige, but it's not going to be anywhere nearby enough because I think I've got a couple of hundred on him. There's my Convert Tribute ritual. Very inefficient, but sometimes you just really need a specific type. And as you can see, Belial is eliminated. He will play no more part in the game, his territory is automatically unassigned, and his stronghold is now in my hands. Belphegor is going to need to pay 4 tribute tokens for assorted specific conclavial expenses, and if he refuses, he will lose 25% of his prestige. If that had been targeted at me, that might have been a problem due to the current state of tribute. So, these schemes aren't particularly helpful, but I can probably do Hades Heal. And given that I'm going to be trying to do that again, I may as well try and do it twice. Belphegor has rejected my Extor, which means I get to declare a vendetta, and I want to be quite careful with what type I declare. He can't fight the Accursed Company, that's just not something he can do. But I want to take cantons rather than destroy legions here, because I want a path to Pandemonium. If somebody takes Pandemonium, I want to be able to get to it, take it back, without worrying about territory and stuff like that. So it's going to be a 3-turn vendetta to capture 3 cantons. And I'm going to max the prestige wager because that's how I'd play this if this was a multiplayer game. Astaroth is just going to continue dealing with the Queen of the Damned. Urzabet is once again going to need to continue dealing with the Queen of the Damned. I'm going to do my other business before deciding whether to keep that ritual going. We're on phase 4 of 5 in the Assembly of the Conclave. Belial's head has been delivered to the steps of Pandemonium and is no more. And I get of Conquest Past again, which is really, really good. That's an excellent event card to be getting at this point. So, first things first. I believe I converted a bunch of tributes specifically so that I could get the Defilers. And let's see if I can't do better than the auto-select tool here. That's all the darkness. I believe I can't do much better than the auto-select tool here, unfortunately. Yes, I think that's about the best I'm getting. As you can see, Death Takes a Holiday is a pretty devastating event late game because it can mean that you can't do a lot. But I can keep this ritual up for one more turn, and that might be important. The Devourer has been dismissed, which is a shame. Astaroth has bought a Praetor, which is a little late in the game for Zul, but never mind. I'll plot a scheme. And there isn't a lot else to do. I can shuffle my legions around a little bit. I guess I can put the Accursed Company there. In fact, no, he'd be best there. Or indeed, there. Yeah, that's a much better place for him. I've got 3 actions left and not a lot to do with any of them. Again, normally I'd be seeking tribute or seeking manuscripts, but my plots are full, my diplomacy is full. I think at this point I'm just ending my turn. There's a lot of Legion movement going on. Death Takes a Holiday tends to coincide with a lot of demands, Legion movement and so forth, because nobody really has anything else they can do. It's not an event I'm a big fan of, but it definitely has a place in the game. You can see Astaroth really wants to use that Legion. They've been staring at the mouth of Abaddon for quite a long time now. And there's the Defilers. They'll be quite useful for me, I think. So my final scheme is going to be destroying 2 legions in a single turn. I might be able to do that this turn. Mammon has rejected my extort, so the Queen of the Damned is going to be sent to play with him again. I can't keep this ritual up, which is a shame, but nobody probably has any tribute to do any deceit things to me anyway. And we're on the final phase of the Assembly of the Conclave, so at any point the game could end. And I have declared war with Belphegor, which I shall start now by moving thusly to attempt to take out 2 legions in 1 turn. Now he does move before me, so he could move to the Tower of Pride and take that. I'm also going to consider where to move my other legions. I'm going to bring the Chosen of Andromalius down here. There are no other things to do this turn, really. These would have been tribute actions, but seeing as I can't do any of those, I think I'm pretty much done. Now this could be the last turn. We'll see how it works out. I essentially wanted the Defilers to be there just in case Urzabet does any kind of crazy excommunication play and tries to take my stronghold, but it doesn't look like they're going to do something like that. And it looks like Belphegor hasn't chosen a particularly smart order in which to move his legions. And his stratagem only decreases my Infernal, and we're not going to reach the Infernal phase. Even with 2 other legions supporting them, they get completely destroyed in the melee phase. 20 damage thanks to Telemachus. It would have been lethal. Oh no, it wouldn't have been lethal without him. But we get a second battle in. And again, Acheron's Butchers and Fennex, both easy prey for the Accursed Company, led by Telemachus. Temelucas. I think I've been pronouncing him wrong all game. And we take a Canton. 2 more of those and we win the Vendetta, though I'd be surprised if the game goes on for that long. and somewhat unusually, none of my opponents have attempted to take Pandemonium. Usually you see at least one person try it, but I suppose Belphegor's territory being in the way has been a bit of a problem there. And someone has put Planar Lock on me. That's a level 6 destruction ritual, and it's rather nasty. It decreases my orders, my number of available orders, down to 3 to a minimum of 1. That means I'll have 3. That would have been a lot nastier if I wasn't just wasting orders due to Death Takes a Holiday anyway. Once you have Planar Lock on you, there's no way to remove it unless you can either Demonic Interference whoever... and that's the end of the game. The only way to remove Planar Lock is the level 6 Prophecy Ritual, or by running your opponent out of tribute to maintain it, as it does need maintenance. And as you can see, I've won an election victory on turn 58. Belphegor is my lieutenant, as the runner-up in Prestige. Nobody had the Kingmaker crown on me to steal my victory. And that's the end. So I hope you've all enjoyed this playthrough of Solium Infernum. If this is something that people enjoyed, I will make a second one with perhaps challenging AI, hellish AI, the maximum level. Go through a couple of the different strategies involved in that, how the AIs play differently, but I'll always try and play as if they were human players. Of course, the AI in any board game or strategy game is never going to be as good as human players. A lot of the things I did here, the massive comical lead I had by the end of it, there were ways throughout this game that people could have stopped me from doing that. They'd probably all have been ganging up on me a lot earlier than they were, for example. But I hope this was an enjoyable playthrough, and hopefully I'll see you all later. Bye bye.